Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 89 of the new Build Your Stash and Craft. I thought that I would show you that I finished There's No Place Like the Past. And so I put these little crystal dangles on here. Some of them are acrylic. There are some glass seed beads in there. And I put them both on the top and on the inside. And so I thought that that was kind of nice. Looks like little icicles. But I thought it turned out really well. Thank you all for your votes on whether I should just leave the frame as is or whether I should distress it. I left it as is and clear coated it with a matte finish so that because I didn't want it shiny. And then when I attached the back, I drilled through this corner right here. So there was a little hole right there, which then was brown. And so I wound up putting these little flat back crystals on there, which I thought turned out really cute also. Just a little added something. And I used the gel super glue to put those on there also, even though that they're sticky. They're not going to stick forever. And something like this, you want them to stick for a long time. So you wouldn't want to use the natural sticky on them. But I think it turned out really well. I like the way it turned out. So that is going to go to the studio today, actually. So, and then I did want to show you, I picked up some books. These are just 3 fairly large, but not necessarily, they don't have to be super fat. Grab my ruler here. This one is like 8 1/4 by 11 1/2. And I think these are about the same. This one is 12 by 9 1/4. And this one's pretty much about the same, 12 by 9. But I picked up these large books because I have a project in mind for the beginning of the year. So I thought that I would just, this was 49 cents. I think that the other 2 were 1/4. So, but yeah, I looked for books that I wanted them to have kind of a nice cover. If you want to do a whole distressed thing, if you love distressed, you can go with a distressed cover. But I thought that I would do nice covers. So these all had nice covers. And we've got the, what do they call that? I forget what they call that book cover. But yeah, they've got that to keep them protected, even maybe while I'm working on them. I might leave those right on there so that my book covers stay nice until I decide to decorate them. But anyway, so this is for a project for the beginning of the year. I thought this would give you some time if you want to maybe play along with a project. This project is probably going to take all year because I won't be doing as many videos like I used to. So, you know, it'll be a long project. So nothing that you have to rush into. So today we're going to do, I was watching Sonia Steptoe the other day. And if you like fiber arts especially, oh, she does one, you know, she just every day, enjoy yourself fiber arts. You know, it's not anything where it's like you have to be like super fancy or anything. It's just beautiful. And oh my gosh, she makes the most beautiful like patchwork fiber arts. You should definitely go check her channel. But she was doing a paper journal, and so she was coloring paper, which I've done for years, and I love doing it, and I've been meaning to do it, but she just really kind of kicked me into, I really want to do that again. And as I was doing it, I made a nice whole stack of papers. So far, I have done this many, and I will do some more, but because I am out. And so, but as I was playing, I had a couple more ideas. So I'm going to show you those ideas. And yeah, because there's 3 things that I personally have not done before, you know, when doing this. So I will show you just the normal way, in case you haven't seen this before. I call it watercolor paper. And what you need is kids' markers. Just plain old, and this is the ones we have in our stash from the Dollar Tree. Just plain old kids' markers. So these are just, do they say on here water wash off? But they are. They're kids' markers, so they're water washable. non-toxic, you know, just the plain old cheapy markers. Yep, washable. So, and you want that. You definitely don't want permanent markers. They don't work. But, and I like to do 2 colors, but you don't have to do 2 colors. And all you do is you need 2 pieces of plastic. Now, you can use a plastic Walmart bag, plastic Ziploc bag. You can use, and you need 2 pieces of plastic. That's all there is to it. You don't need, you know, it doesn't need to be any kind of plastic. These are just some file folders that I have. They don't actually even work the best because they've got a button in them, so that kind of gets in my way. But, so I just go ahead and kind of scribble on your mat with one color. And then scribble on your mat with the other color. And like I said, if you want to just do 1 color or if you want to do 3 colors, the biggest thing is I always do my lightest color first and then my darkest color, because you're going to transfer a little bit of that ink onto the nib of your marker. And so you don't want to like do purple and then do yellow and get the purple all over your yellow marker. So do your lightest color first, darkest color last. And then you're just going to take some water, spray it on your markers, squish it with your other piece of plastic, take your paper, put it down, and then take your other piece of plastic and put it over top. That colors both sides at the same time so that you have double-sided paper. And there we go. And this is just beautiful background paper. Now, if you get a spot that just doesn't seem to have enough, you can take that and just rub it on the places on your paper where there is still a little bit left. That also will get that off your paper so you can, or off your plastic so you can start over. Just pick that up. And there we go. We have a really nice piece. Now this will dry lighter than it is. And so different markers are going to make a difference. Different papers are going to make a difference. So play with it and just, you know, like have fun with it. So another thing that I thought was, what if instead of spraying it with water, you spray it with tea? Now, actually, I should have really wiped this with a wet. And see, I told you not to do the light color second. So I'm going to try and find some little spots where there's not orange. I don't want orange all over my yellow marker. And if you do get orange on your marker, then color it off on a piece of paper until it comes off. There we go. But I didn't get any on there. So just go ahead and color on your paper. And then I thought, well, what if we use, instead of water, tea? So this is a fairly dark mixture of tea. It's like a cup of water in 4 tea bags. And again, because you don't want those lines showing up, and they will show up if you don't kind of smush it around. Smush it around. Take this one off. And put your paper. Now this paper is thicker. This is what we have in our stash. It's thicker than the one that I have been playing with. And so it is actually turning out differently than the other papers I have dyed. And you know, that's good. You get different different looks from different markers, from different paper, different water types even now. So now we've got this one, and this one I didn't really get enough color on there. So you can always do it again. A lot of times I let them dry, and then if I don't like them, then I'll do them again. Because sometimes you don't like them when they're wet, because they have the dark spots where they're really wet, and then when they dry, they really look good. So, and then the one thing that, in here, I'm going to show you, because let's see what a difference is. These are just different markers. These are, again, these are kids' watercolors by Art Skills. And this is just something that I have in my stash. I like to use these because they're kind of neon. And I'm doing it again. I'm doing the orange before the yellow. So this one I'm going to put just a lot of orange on here. And I'm going to skip the yellow because I really don't want to get this orange on. And you can also put orange, you can put your marker on both sides of your plastic. And And then spray it. Since we did that orange with the tea, we'll do this orange with the tea, even though there's no yellow. But, you know, just so that, you know, remember, if you have different types of watercolor markers, try both types. You might like one better than the other. I like those ones because they have a really big nib, so I can put a lot on there quicker. So, just going to put that on there. So I've never done it with the tea before, and that definitely does make it look quite grungy. It's a whole different look, and this is very, very light. Maybe the tea does not melt the maybe it doesn't melt the color, because it definitely is not picking up. I just started the tea this morning, and I've only done like one or two before I came on here. So let's see. Let's take an actual clean piece of paper and see how much orange comes off of this. Because normally that orange is a little brighter than that. No, this piece of paper is pretty much just wet. So it didn't leave a lot of color behind. I just didn't put enough color on there. But I will let it dry and see what it looks like. So, the one thing, you see that marker is still on there. Okay, I'm going to wipe this off. So, now is the one that I haven't done before. I'm sure somebody's tried it before. Because, you know, when we think of something, somebody else has probably thought of the same thing. And if you watched the little pocket bowls, if you watched me making these, I told you I would look and try and find that link. I did finally find it, and I put it underneath that video. So that if you'd like to go see the lady that I saw do it, if you'd like to go check out her channel, and she's kind of new, so you could just check out her channel and see if you like that channel. That would be nice for her. Okay, so this is my new one, and I haven't actually tried it with these markers because I've been playing, like I said, with these markers. But instead of just having a background paper, what about having a background paper with design? So you can just go ahead and put some designs on your paper, and then do the same with the water, just like normal. Not sure what's going on here. It's spreading out. It's not even wet yet. Ready? Give it a spray. Now I'm not going to do the double plastic with this one. I'm just going to put this down and pick up what I drew. And there we go. Now you've got a designed background. You know, it's still very, like, it spreads out, and it just kind of, I don't want to say it blends in, but it just gives you a design, but still a nice piece for background. So you can do all sorts of things. And if you also have a piece of paper that you can just pick up your extra color with, and then a paper towel, if you're going to change colors, wipe it with a wet paper towel so that you're not mixing your colors and making mud for yourself. But that also gives you a really kind of neat piece of paper at the end. Okay, so, and I wanted to show you this. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so just the regular way that we do our color with our marker in the water. And just let your paper just touch in a couple of places and pull it up. And then you have just a little bit of a background. And when I was doing it the other day, I had lots of little bubbles. And so it was making an even more interesting background. Something seems to be going on with my plastic today, even like the background swirls and stuff. That normally is not like that. So, but that's the thing. Things turn out different. They're never going to be exactly the same. And so, you know, you just figure out, you know, maybe what is it that you're doing this different? Is it different paper? This is definitely different paper. It's even different markers. So everything is different, but my papers are still coming out nice. So if you look at it and think, well, mine didn't turn out like theirs did. Now on this one, see, I don't know if you can see the little bit of the swirl still there, which actually is kind of cool. So, but if you don't like that, then make sure that you wipe it down good with your paper towel. See, now when I spray it, I can see that, and I'm not really sure why that's there. Maybe it's these markers. I'm really not sure. Maybe I'm pressing harder on my plastic. You know, you just never know. So you just play with it and see how things turn out. You want some for the 4th of July. You can do red and blue. And your paper is white. So then you've got your red, white, and blue background. You could do cards or placemats or whatever you want with that paper. And this is not the best plastic either with those bumps in there. They do actually get in the way when you're trying to do something like this. You should probably try and have a flatter piece of plastic. Like little file dividers that are plastic work really well too. The kind that I use to make stencils with. I need to wipe off this piece. Oh, well, I'm not going to put it on top anyway, so I can forget that for right now. And then just... Yeah, I was thinking about when I did one, and I did not get it smushed around much, and my lines were very prominent. And I thought, well, why couldn't I do that with something and leave the lines prominent on purpose instead of squishing them around? So, and they do really smear. This is, you know, this is the part that I like. I like this much better than like this right here. I like them to be like just spread out. Just basically be a hint in the background of what it was that you drew. The more water you put, the more smushy they'll get. So, and I'll just show you some that I've already done. So this is one, and I just did this morning. This is one where I just put it on one side, and I just let the paper just touch it, and it just soaked up in spots, and then I took the paper off. And so that gives you a lot more white space. I didn't put the second side of plastic on there, you know, but it still soaks through. So, you know, you still get double-sided paper, but it's not as colorful as if you put it on there, put the second piece, and squish it together, because you get more color by doing it that way. So, and... you know, so I like the orange and red. This might be the one that I did where I did not get any water in that area and wound up with the lines. And then that made me think, that I could make them with lines. This is another one where I just let it touch, but they do look really good. This is a wipe-off sheet. And so I just think that these really turn out very well, and you can make them in so many different ways. So the more color and water that you put on there, the darker your paper will be. If you squish both sides, you'll get more ink. If you only just let it rest on top and then take it off, you'll get less. And they turn out really nicely. Different papers and different markers will also give you a different look. This one I had and it was green and it didn't hardly have anything on it. So when I finished one of these, there was just a little left. I just set it on top and picked that up. So now we're getting, oh, this was, see now this one, I was doing them, and when I set the paper down, all of a sudden I could see these little spots start coming through. And you know, just in areas, and it was like, that is really cool. So I just lifted it up really quick. And this is what I really like. I didn't really get this much today. Today, let's see, where's the one I did today? This is the one I did today. And today, it was much more puddly and pooly. There wasn't the little bits of water like there was the other day. I don't know why. And so that's the thing, you know, you just got to play with it. And remember, go with the flow. If you think, like, I really do like this, and I was a little bit disappointed when I got the really big spots like this, because I really like these little spots, and I wanted to show you how to do it. But you just, like I showed you how we just lay it on there and let it kind of soak through and peel it off. But, you know, there is a big difference between those two. But that's okay, because now I've got two different kinds in my stash, and if that's the way it's going to be, you can't change it. So enjoy it. But I really do like these little tiny spots with the big white spots in between. I think that they turned out really well. The lighter colors worked exactly the same, but you can't see them very well. So I really do like it better with the darker colors. And I should be getting to, aha. You're making a journal. You want the pages lined, but you don't want it to be like straight. You want it to be just there. I make my stamps. My line stamps are not perfect. I use twine to make them, because I hate a stamped, like when you buy a stamp from the store, a rubber stamp, and the lines are just perfect. Now, if you're making a really nice clean journal, you'll like that. But I like to have things just more organic. But, so with this one, I just took my plastic. This one I used a ruler. I didn't measure the width between them, but I did use a ruler to make a straight line, because otherwise I probably would have wound up at the end be going very crooked. Took my ruler, used my brown, drew my lines, sprayed it with some water, and this is what I got. And I really like the way that this turned out. So, and then I thought, well, I'm going to do one that's really organic, and I just did some squiggly lines, because I like those too. And then sprayed it with water, and then just put the paper on and pressed it down. I didn't do the two-sided. I didn't squash the lines. I just drew them, sprayed them, and then put the water on them. And then here are, this is the actual very first one that I did. I just absolutely loved it. So they turn out really well. And then I thought, well, let's make it not quite so solid of a line, even though they did spread out some. So I sprayed more water on this one. And see, this reminds me more of a tie-dye, which I like tie-dye. And these are just put the color down, spray it with some water, and then put your paper on to pick it up. Don't squish these. Just draw them and pick them up. But I think that they turned out pretty cool. I like the way that they look. They're not so, you know, I mean, you take a white piece of paper and you draw a bunch of stars on it, and they're very much stark in color on the white paper, but this makes it so that they blend in a little bit. So there we go. Those are the different types of things that you can do with your watercolor paper. I am so happy with the way that mine turned out, and I still have some more to make, because like I said, I am out, so I need to make more. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. I probably might not see you before Christmas, so if I don't, I hope that you all have Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.